Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Sorry.
Starting off strong.
Way to go, Trevor. That's a great intro.
Heartburn's kicking my ass right. Jesus Christ. Okay. Try that again. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Haunted Casket episode 23. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. I'm sorry for no event and last minute thing. I got off work half an hour ago, but here we are. Hello, Denise. How you doing? How you doing? Thank you for being here. I love you. This is a Chris became a man a road trip. How's it going, Chris? I'm excited to see what you got filmed and what you're working on. If you're watching us while you're editing, how do you multitask in audio sense? I would love that talent, but if not, I hope you're enjoying your time away from the editing software. Todd SQ, how's it going, brother? How's it going? Love you.
Hey, we all finally know Todd.
Yeah, finally know Todd. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know Todd now too. Yeah.
Yes, we were all in Kentucky.
As Sean's like Facebooking him. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, me and Todd had a great talk. We were gonna get into it. You know.
It like it's your hour break. Well, Chris, thank you for tuning in on your hour break. I know you're hard at it. For those of you who don't know that's watching now or watching in the future, Chris, media-wise, documentaries, filming, everything, he is a magician with that shit. So
yeah, I've seen him edit. He uses a magic wand. It's pretty cool.
He just goes the hell's that spell from Harry Potter that it's like a joke. It's not Leviosa, it's Leviosa, that shit. Yeah. He Leviosans that shit. Anyway, nobody knows Todd.
Oh, I thought we did. I guess we were wrong. Sorry, Todd.
Yeah, Todd. If you don't mind, please pull a Eminem and allow us to reintroduce yourself. I think that's Eminem. I don't know rap. Anyway, Candy Slater, how's it going? Love you, sis. How's it going? And you're welcome. You deserve all the praise. Your films are amazing. And Courtney, how's it going, partner? How's it going? Alrighty. This is a Sorry, I looked down in the background stage. Tanya's camera is just her forehead. So I looked down and saw that. there we go.
Was
sorry.
that better? I'm in my car.
That threw me off. I'm sorry. But
now it's solid.
This is a Trifecta recap episode / chill episode / talk shit on Sean and kind of Kayleigh episode.
Listen, I'm backstage producing right now. I'm trying to get Brian a link.
You don't even have access to our streamer, but never mind.
I have the
already
link.
I already sent it to him.
You got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's Little Annabelle, aka little Annabelle, because she's independent woman. How's it going?
Oh, we're
And
gonna
thanks
have
for the
we're gonna have to
invite.
have little Annabelle on one of these days.
Yeah. Hell, you could come on right now in Brian's spot if you want to. Here, I'll shoot little Annabelle a DM. Here. If she wants to make a random appearance, then
Oh, jeez.
that would be
Not
fucking
ready. I'm not mentally ready for that.
Hey, little Annabelle was technically at the trifecta, and here's
She
Brian.
was.
She was there.
She was there.
Brian Paoni
Look who it is, Brian.
is on a standing desk or he's just awkwardly standing.
I'm at my standing desk. I just
Okay.
got off. I just left another podcast.
Well, you are a busy man, aren't you?
Yeah, so that one ran like 2 or 3 minutes over, and then I couldn't get into Facebook Messenger. It was acting like someone had hacked into it. So even though I was typing in my password, it was like, no, like make sure it's you. I'm like, I don't have time for you to make sure if it's me. So like, I just abandoned it. So I used, never mind. That's a long story of who cares, right? So.
All right, so all of our guests have been on the show before,
Yes.
except for my lovely fiance Tanya.
She
I
was
should have been
on
the
the
first
show in the
guest.
past.
What?
No.
She was on the show in the past.
She was not. No.
No, I was not.
As I told her last night, we were saving her for when we couldn't find a guest.
Yeah.
She was a backup guest.
You're the last resort, Tanya.
I am the last resort for everybody. It's all right.
There's a part of me that thought she was.
That part of you is called the wrong part.
There's a lot of wrong parts.
That's
in
the
there.
whole part for Trevor, though.
Okay, yeah. Damn.
Kayleigh, how do you like blur your background?
It's called. It's some like automatic setting, like in StreamYard.
Yeah.
It's
don't
like
have
AI
to-
background.
I'm not even like logged in or anything. Jesus, I am a man. I came in here like a bull in a china shop.
There you are.
Hey, where'd you go?
Like a montage. Yes.
like- You didn't even boot him. He's like gone.
Oh no, I didn't touch anything. He just left.
He probably dropped down to. He's probably changing his settings. It kicks you off if you do that.
Oh.
I think it was little Annabelle.
Took him out.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Is that wow or like wow?
I think if you do the voice right, it's wow. Oh God, nope. That is not. That's not.
Left like a part.
My voice does not hit that octave.
Well, good job, Sean.
Mm.
Good job, Sean.
Thank you. I'll be here on all 20 minutes before you can
You'll be here for 20 minutes. Then you got to go I don't know.
Probably
cry.
Edit more,
Sure.
You know.
So the reason we are all here tonight, and we have a bigger group than usual, is we were all at Trifecta a week and a half ago down in Kentucky at Fort Duffield. And all of us, we actually all shared an Airbnb except for Brian, who was too good to stay with us, and he went and stayed at the Diddle House instead, whatever that is.
Yeah, he had a contractual obligation to stay there for media purposes.
You got to stay with the ghost kids.
Yes.
Mhm.
And the what room did you stay in? The murder room?
I stayed in the murder room. Yes.
Hell yeah. A lot of shit happens there. Especially when they follow you home. It's crazy.
Okay.
Sometimes
Right.
when I get mad at bad things happen.
All right. Sorry.
Did they happen to Brian?
What happened to me? I know. I think Rob stuck in my room was tickling my feet one night.
Or little Annabelle was.
Or both.
All right. So
You sure it was your feet?
Denise and Ernie put me in the murder room. I'd heard all these things about it. Rob had some experiences in it the last time he stayed there. I didn't have anything happen to me or hear anything in that room until the very last night, which was the only night where I was alone in the room. It was just me and Ernie and Denise. Like everybody had left, right? That was the night when like the house decided to mess with me. So not when everybody was there and I had protection and other humans to run to and stuff. No, let's wait until I'm completely alone in the house.
That sounds about right.
I had heavy footsteps outside my door, loud enough where I was laying in bed with the cover up to my chin, going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." And then the room that Rob stayed in, which was to the right of me, I had locked. There was absolutely rustling, like something rummaging through things in that room, like moving stuff. It was like if somebody was staying in the room. It was, yeah. So I didn't go to fall asleep until about 2 a.m. that night because I was so just like tuned into all the noises. So that was kind of interesting, but I didn't have anything happen to me in the room before, while everybody was actually there, which is when I wanted it. So I could like have, somebody to hug or cry to, or I don't know, give me ice cream. I'm not sure, but yeah. So wait until it's me, I'm all by myself on that side of the house. And,
So Brian, is that something that often happens to you? Do ghosts give you ice cream?
No, I'm talking about humans who give me ice cream.
Oh,
I just really want ice cream.
What's your favorite type of ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
Good one.
Okay, whatever.
all right. So one thing I want to talk about, which unfortunately Brian was unable to attend while we were down there. Let's talk about Goatman's Bridge.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Someone else talk about it. I'll get you the pictures if you don't have them.
Okay, yeah,
So,
yeah,
we found out about Goatman's Bridge. Well, technically it's Pope Lick Trestle Bridge, and we decided to go there with Sean.
Good times.
So that he can do a little film for that little YouTube channel he has, Paranormal Nut.
Small
And
before we get there, I want to say a little funny tidbit. Before we get there, Sean's a little late to the gathering because we were all talking in our group chat because Bill and Tanya arrived first. And then me and
how many times am I gonna get roasted for this? Okay,
and
every
and
time.
Jeez.
And
Every time.
Kayleigh's in my passenger seat. We're riding together, and we're like, "Hey, where do we park?" Because the GPS directs you to the road that Goatman Bridge is actually over.
Yeah, the parking was across the street. It took us a little while to find it.
We didn't know that, so we had to turn around, and then we parked, and then Sean was already out walking, sees us walking, which
Assume that me and you were going the wrong way.
Yeah,
Safe assumption. 9 out of
For
10
no
times.
reason.
This
For
all
no
could've been
reason. Just
2
they're
seconds.
going the
What
wrong
does
way.
it
I'm going to go the opposite
Yeah.
direction.
My
2
reasoning was I thought it was closer to the water, and that's why I went towards the water.
Are you using
not-
dowsing rods to find the shit? Like what?
There's a huge body of water back there. That's all.
So this would have been fixed by 2 seconds of checking a group chat, but me and
Or
Kayleigh,
looking up and seeing the bridge.
Yeah, me and Kayleigh were like, oh,
Spiritual force was guiding him away. They didn't want him
Yeah,
there.
exactly. I was being safe. I didn't want to get that
You-
close there.
They're like, no, you have to save Sean. The rest could be sacrificed.
Right?
so
Cameraman
Kayleigh-
always lives.
So Kayleigh was telling me where to park. We get out. We start walking. We're walking towards the bridge. Sean walks past us, but not in our sight. So I guess he was like far away. Walks past us, and then asks, "Where are we going?" I'm like, "We're going the right way." And Sean's like, "Well, I saw you walking that way, so I went this way because I assumed you were going the wrong way." And we're like, "Just check the group chat." So about 20 minutes later, we see
This
Sean's.
is pretty damn close to 20 minutes, too.
I
Sean
did go
Kemp-
back to my car to get a couple different things like the spirit box and stuff.
But
I remember looking down at the
oh
group
my
chat,
god,
like, Sean and Kayleigh went the wrong way. Like, okay. And then Kayleigh and Trevor show up. And I'm like,
Go
What the
back to
hell's
your
wrong?
box, Annabelle.
and Sean's like, yeah, I went the wrong way. I gotta backtrack now.
hey
Going the
Annabelle.
wrong way, assuming that we were going the wrong way because it's Trevor. Not me,
Yeah.
but Trevor.
So,
Hey
so
Annabelle,
Sean,
what's in the
normally,
fucking box?
Sean, normally I can't fault your logic of Trevor's usually wrong, but from the parking lot you can see the bridge.
Yeah,
So I knew
Sean,
that was a
go
section
up.
of it. I didn't know if that was like going to continue and cross another thing. I didn't know exactly where everything was.
And not to
there
mention,
was a bridge that I thought might have been the other bridge. It was, there's a lot of things going on.
Sean, and not to mention, knowing addresses and knowing direction is kind of my full-time job. So
That's assuming you're good at your full-time job.
what the hell's all these pictures? Oh,
What do you think they are? What we were talking about?
I
before
haven't
you
looked
rudely
down yet.
interrupted with this preposterous slander that everyone's putting on me right now.
Well, let's see how small it makes our cameras.
Oh, okay. Well,
Well, I figured we'd show the bridge first.
Okay, fair enough.
So this is
yeah, I completely missed it.
yeah.
Jesus
It's not a small bridge. It's so this is Pope Lick Trestle Bridge. It's a very active train bridge that unfortunately a lot of people have actually died on because they go up onto the bridge and once you're up there, there's no place to go if a train comes except jump. And the legend is that the goat man will go up there or lure you up there right before a train comes so that you're stuck up there when the train comes and you don't survive it.
Yeah.
We had decided to go there to do a video for Sean's channel thinking, oh, it's a fun little, urban legend. We'll check it out a little bit.
Yep.
Maybe it might be some good material for Brian's next book. And then we did a little filming, started doing a ghost hunt. That's when things got weird.
Really weird.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot. So we kind of, well, at least me specifically, I have a lot more.
I'm sorry. Real quick, what the Brian? What the fuck is your background?
The Teletubbies, come on.
I know
Yeah.
it's the tele. It's just he's standing there so nonchalantly, like waiting for someone to point it out.
So,
Okay, sorry about that. I had to.
fair enough. So the way I kind of wanted to go at this investigation, if people have died there might be lingering spirits, and we might be able to talk to them to try to get insight on what's going on. So we do that. We kind of have a very successful spirit box and necrophonics.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of weird things going on. We were hearing noises around us, and every time we brought up Goatman's name, all the cicadas would like freak out and
They
start
went
screaming.
nuts.
The environment was being fucked with.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. And I don't want to spoil too much, but we can show. We were hey, Mama Maurer. That's honorary paranormal nut, Mama Maurer. If you do not know, the best of the best.
The honorary nut.
The honorary nut. So, we're kind of a lot of things happen. Watch the video; it's gonna be great. Whenever I get that done in a year or two, we begin to leave. Trevor actually takes my camera and goes, "Hey, let's do a kind of a closing thoughts, right?" And I said, "Trevor, don't tell me how to do my job." But then I started to do it, and so I start doing it, and then. Bill right behind me goes, "Trevor, camera now." And we all just quickly turn around and we see these on the ground, which, I mean, they kind of speak for themselves. But if you want to pull them up.
I guess they're not on the screen yet.
Yeah.
So
that
we see a camera is what we see.
Well, that's the first one. So that's Tanya, because I told Tanya to take the camera so I can take pictures with my phone. But that right there, I mean, I've seen them. I'm not an expert on footprints. But I did a bit of research that does not look like a deer. The only thing that looks
doesn't.
like is a goat footprint. If you pull up like various footprint tracking and stuff like that, that's probably the best two. They're right next to each other. And I did a bit more research after the fact. I was watching actually some of Squatchman Greg Yost's videos and some of the prints that he got and some of the interviews he had. I always pictured Goatman as like 7, 8 feet tall. Apparently, the people that see him like, nah, he's like 3 feet tall, which kind of fits that gait that we saw, with those feet very close together.
Yeah, it would.
So
That and the size of the opening and the fence you had to get through.
No, we're on the side of the fence. But
Oh,
I guess
yeah,
Goatman would have had to go up through the
Yeah,
fence.
yeah.
Fair enough. I don't want you people thinking we're trespassing.
No,
it's a big
no,
thing.
we
trespass.
never passed the fence.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I'm saying
If the goat
if someone
man
were to
needed
go
pass the
through it,
fence.
yeah.
So.
And,
Yeah.
and we completely brushed over Kayleigh wandering off into the woods by herself.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
well, I
so
wanted to, let Kayleigh kind of talk about what was going on there. I didn't want to
So-
rob her of her story.
before that, there we were doing necrophonics and whatever the spirit box thing. And I had Sean's camera and my camera because I also filmed some found footage. And as we were getting like borderline threatening responses, like follow, beware, all that type of stuff, we started to look around and we were like, where's Kayleigh at? And she wouldn't be able to hear us at our talking voice or understand us, at least. She wouldn't be able to understand what we were saying. She was like 30 yards away, deep into the woods. And we eventually yelled her name, and she was what was over there. But Kayleigh, how did you get lured? What was your feelings?
I don't know. Like, I just it felt like, I don't know, something was like just guiding me further back, following the stream, and I wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
Almost like you were lured back there by a goat.
I say spirit box thing because it didn't look like my SB7 that I use. I'm not sure if it was.
It was a spirit box. It was just different
Okay.
company made it.
Okay, I
I
didn't
think
know
that
if,
was Spirit Ghost of Augustine or St. Augustine Spirit Box. Something
okay,
like that.
I didn't know if it was like a actual like copyrighted one. I'm like it resembled a spirit box, but I didn't know if it was like.
No, it wasn't an
company.
SB7. Jim has
Oh.
our SB7, and I have that one. So
Yeah, we
Okay.
also used Necrophonic and Spirit Talker, and
Yeah.
which as soon as Kayleigh wandered away, Spirit Talker said, "Wife,
oh yeah,
inmate,
Mm.
prehistoric." So
yeah, some
shit,
weird stuff. It was
shit. They're taking Kayleigh as a wife. Somebody go get her.
Yeah. So we sent Trevor hoping he wouldn't come back, but he did. So.
I don't know.
Yeah,
the,
and
feeling,
then
the feeling was more like a "come here, follow me" kind of thing.
yeah,
And then I got a scratch on my head, which I
Oh
didn't even
yeah,
hit my head on anything walking.
Like it was
Like-
a deep scratch too. Like it was
and
bleeding.
like it was, and the thing was like it was deep into your hairline too. Like if you
Mhm.
would have hit something, you would have felt it.
Right.
Because that scratch had to fight the cushion of your hair, then dig deep. So, yeah. Because like you were asking if I saw anything, and then I said no, and then I had to like sift through your follicles. Like, oh shit.
and that's one of the main
weird thing to
things
say?
that people say. Sorry, what?
I said that was a weird thing to say. Shift through your follicles.
Fight your follicles.
Yeah, and that's just what Ernie said in chat. Yeah, the lore of Goatman is that he lures people away and
Further
and,
into the woods or up onto the tracks. Yeah.
and me and Bill, we're I jokingly said last time, like we're the most responsible
it's
ones
like-
here, but
It's
we
like,
kind
and I'm
of-
not trying to go any further than where we're going, but it's like it wanted you and Bill to go up and me to go
Yeah,
out.
Oh yeah, I had absolutely zero interest in going up on that bridge. I don't do well at heights. While we were there, we saw trains go by 3 times. So I'm not going
it
up
was
there.
a steep hill. I'm out of shape. I don't
Thankful.
want to but I
Yeah.
still wanted to go.
But
up there,
out of nowhere, me and Sean are just like, I kind of want to go up there now.
Yeah, we're kind of like inching up subconsciously. Next thing we know, we're on the hill next to the hill, opposed to in the gullet or whatever. And
Yeah.
then, but
You were on the hill, Sean, and it kind of looked like you got pushed a little bit.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I'm not gonna
No,
write
I think
that
you
one.
were-
I think I just slipped. That
I
may
think
have
you
been
were-
me. But
Yeah,
think-
he done fell on his ass.
So what happened is I fell naturally, but right after I fell, the spirit
Mhm.
box goes fall, and there was kind of
He
like a
fell.
muffled chuckle in there. Or he fell, yeah.
Mhm.
because I think you were coming down already, because like seconds after you asked for us to take your camera, and then you tripped, and then your lens thingy fell off and went into the mud.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But they were threatening to push you before that.
They
They were,
were,
yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
do remember that.
Or-
Um, Oh yeah, but we were doing some hot and cold, and it was giving us some good results. It directed me up and on that hill over there, which is the other side of where the bridge is, and that's when I slipped down the hill.
And another thing, two things that like actually, at one point, it was giving us pretty accurate numbers of who was around, how many people in total, including spirits, was here. Jesus fucking Christ!
I need to, someone put a little Annabelle back in the box.
See, Sean may be big, but his ass is small.
Whoa. Man with this slander.
But at one point, the spirit talker thingy, the spirit box thingy, was
trademark. Now you have to make a spirit box and call it the spirit box thingy trademark.
I'll give that idea to Greg because Greg's like the spirit box guy.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh yeah. So like they were giving us pretty accurate numbers on like how many people were here, including us and the spirits.
Yeah.
And at one point, I said, because the voices were coming out really choppy, like the energy was dying out. So I said, I'm gonna count on my fingers real slow, and tell me and just say anything, but more importantly, try to say stop. And then it was me, Bill, Tanya, Sean, and Kayleigh. So 5 of us. And so I said,
Brian
so
was
I
there
said-
in spirit.
yeah. So then I started counting up very slowly, and I got to 6, and it said stop, or it said something. And we're like, oh shit, because not 2 minutes later, we asked who was here, and it said a spirit. How many spirits? 1. 5 minutes
Yeah.
later, it kind of went dead, and then I did that. And I'm like, they said only 1, but
Yeah,
then
so that's 6.
yeah.
And that spirit was Brian. Like I said, he was there in spirit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then leading up to when Sean actually went up the hill, because Sean said he wanted to play hot or cold before we let him,
With the
he went-
spirit, let's just
Yeah.
clarify.
before we went up there, I'm like, which way do you want us to go? Didn't say anything. So I'm like, I'm gonna do another experiment. I'm going to point out my finger and rotate it slowly around me, and whichever way I'm pointing, whenever you say anything or stop, that's where we'll go. And as I'm rotating my hand, we hear something, a clear word of some sort, and that's when
Yeah.
he
And that
walked
was
up
in
the
the
hill.
same direction that it told me to go, which
Yeah.
was weird because it
Mhm.
was still away from the bridge. But I feel like that was an entity trying to get us away, because during the spirit box and the necrophonics, there was a lot of like back and forth, and it felt like there were some entities that were like, you need to not be here, leave, like go,
Yeah.
But then there was something that was trying to get us to stay, and but I don't want to take up all of our time on
Yeah,
Goatman Bridge.
So as a good transition into Fort Duffield, tell us about the cicada, Sean.
Oh, well, okay, so leaving Goatman's Bridge, someone in the group who will remain nameless likes to chase animals and bugs and stuff. Points out that there's a lot of cicadas.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tom.
And so, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'll take
That one.
outed. So, like, oh, I'll take, some cool B-roll. We get that and we start walking away. And as we're walking away, a cicada just comes out and like line drives me right in the forehead where people would, say your third eye, right? And that's important for later. Later, we go to Fort Duffield. There's a lot of stuff that happened in Trifecta, and we'll go over all that. But I'm walking down to the fire pit, walking past Greg Yost, Squatch Man, coolest guy ever. And a leaf falls. A leaf comes down, swings out, and hits me directly in the chest for everyone to see. Like, I'm literally on a staged platform as I'm walking down, and it just nails me, and everyone just looks at me like, I have pie literally on my face. And later, I go to the bathroom towards the end of the night, and I hear like a crack up in the cicada. big ones. We don't get them up in New York. But I hear something crack, and I'm like, not a third time, right? Not a third time. So I jump out of the way, and the acorn falls right next to me. I'm like, fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, shame on me. You know, but
Yes, and to answer little Annabelle, yes, we are now at the Get Haunted Trifecta at Fort Duffield.
Yes.
So Tanya, Sean, and me were on Pac-Man Paranormal on Sunday. We talked about Trifecta a little bit. I want to hear from Brian's perspective what the Trifecta was like for you.
Well, I think I think I went into it not really knowing exactly what was going to happen, and that was kind of the beauty of it, right? That was fun. It's kind of like someone saying, "Hey, come here and check this out," but I'm not going to tell you everything that you're going to be checking out. You're just going to kind of go with it, you know. I found that Squatchman is definitely he's a force. He's just what a character, right? Just all around. I mean, he basically is the embodiment of what like authors dream of. Like he's already built a character. Like this is done. Like I just wish I could, if the Ditto House book ever becomes a movie, there's nobody who's gonna play him but him. Like they just like can't cast that, right? I mean, so yeah, the event was nothing like I'd ever done before, heck, in fact, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Trifecta Sunday was my year anniversary of even meeting Get Haunted, of even meeting Rob and even being involved in this. So the Trifecta was my 1 year anniversary of even being involved with,
That's a big weekend for you, Brian.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I say that on purpose to show how little experience I have. Right. So I have these little bite-sized nuggets all the time of what you guys actually do. Right. And I get to see it little by little, like the curtain comes up just a little bit every time that I do another event with you guys. So this was, nowhere on my radar of what I expected that you guys did, from what I know. And it definitely changed what book the Get Haunted Tale series book 2 is going to be. The Trifecta, if I hadn't gone if I hadn't been there, there's no way that this book would be what it's going to turn into. So, there's going to be a lot taken from what I experienced there. So, but again, I felt like a little duckling just following the mother duck around. When you guys would be like, "Hey guys, we're going over here now to do this," and I'd be like, "Okay," and I didn't know what the schedule was. I didn't know what the timeline was. I was just there, and I was letting you guys lead, and I was there observing and watching and taking notes, and but it was to fit 3 different, categories into one night was very interesting. It kind of felt like, it felt like, I don't know. I can't think of it.
Kind of like anything can happen.
Well, yeah, it felt like eating at a really fancy restaurant, but you order the kids' meal and then there's horse riding outside. Like it was like 3 completely different things that shouldn't, it was like ordering chicken nuggets at a Chinese food restaurant. You just
I was with you right up until the horse.
I don't know. I don't know what happened there, but
people, you have to understand, Brian's not great with words.
No,
it's not like he's an author or anything.
I'm stumbling over them.
There's a reason they have drafts. Okay.
So Brian, I want you to, and as much words as you feel comfortable with giving. I haven't asked you this yet because I know there was like multiple parts of this going on. I didn't want to over-explain or have you overtell a story to and risk the possibility of taking away another experience. But I want you to give us the step-by-step mental playthrough of what it felt whenever you were witnessing the Bigfoot and you called me. Before you called me, what were you experiencing?
Okay, so for the record, I was probably the only one that night who didn't actually see a Bigfoot, like a fleshed out, right?
Yeah.
Seemed like everybody was seeing it but me, and you guys know that. I mean, I was at one point I was complaining. I was like, really? Like I would turn this way, and they would be like, "There it is," and I turn this way, and they'd be like, "There he is," and I turn this way, and they'd be like, "There he is," and I turn this way, right? I was like, so
I had to give you a
I
talk
was
of like,
getting
just
really
don't give up.
frustrated, and so so that was, but I still never, I did not, throughout the night, I still did not see it seemed to be at the level of what everybody was seeing. But I think what you're talking about was how it was explained to us that we can see their eyes. Their eyes illuminate, right? They don't reflect, so they don't need moonlight. They don't need ambient light to reflect to see them. Like some animals, you see the lights because the light's hitting it.
Yeah.
Their eyes illuminate on their own, and I still wasn't seeing those. Right? I was still like, what? But I don't even know where I'm supposed to be looking. Right? You guys, this is
I'll chime in here with you, Brian, real quick, because I didn't see the Bigfoot. I saw some other things, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, I wasn't seeing Bigfoot like everyone else was. But
Right. I didn't see Bigfoot either.
Okay, so
That's the only one.
I was with Kayleigh, and she was like, "Oh, it just guys just asked me out on a date. Like this is everywhere." What's going on?
Wow, first Goat Man, then Bigfoot. Kayleigh was popular.
Yeah. So
And then aliens.
everybody was around the fire. Everybody, right? Everybody was around the fire listening to Squatch Man tell his tale. And I decided to just get up by myself, and I was the only one who wandered away from that fire pit. And I went up that hill, and I said, I'm just gonna walk away because. I'm gonna stare at the woods. I don't know, I don't know what's going on. And then I just started seeing what was described earlier in the night as what you would see if you were seeing their eyes illuminate in the trees. And once I saw one, I started to see two, and they're not fireflies because they're proportionately placed side by side. Right, they don't flicker on and off, right? And but when I called you, Trevor, was that I saw something. I saw one come out of the woods and run into the clearing. Right. Yeah, and that's when I called you. I was like, "Oh shit!" Like shit just got real, and that's when I called you. I was like, "Hey, you got to come up here." Like I was afraid to talk because I didn't know if I'd scare something away. Like I didn't even know what it would be that I was scaring away. I just knew that I needed to whisper. You're like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'll hold up my phone." And I'm like this. You're like, "I see you."
I'm staring into the nothingness, and I just see this little rectangular square. I'm like, "I think that's you." Okay.
Yeah. So he comes up, and as we stood there, it was like they were just. It was everywhere. It was like
out in the trees, in the tree bush. Imagine 4 10-foot columns. Imagine 4 basketball goals stacked on top of each other, and there was 4 rows of eyes. Like you were like almost like a sail block of eyes, just illuminating.
Do you ever see the Muppet Show? The entrance of the Muppet Show where they all come out and they all stand in their spot.
Yeah,
it would feel like if it's like that. Yeah. I mean, we were just like up, down, left, and then we saw one come up closer to us. And come towards us.
One was coming up the hill to the right. Would go
to the right of us.
Come up the hill a little bit. Go back behind.
It went back, and then it came back up and came a little bit closer.
And then there was one time,
and that's what was wild about that one. We kept watching it go back to the wood line and like into the woods, and then came back out of the woods and came closer each time, like it was testing if we were safe. And that's when we called Kayleigh. Like, Again, we're whispering, right? Because I don't know why. That seems to be appropriate, right? She's like, "Where are you?" We're like, "We'll show you our phones." We're like waving, And then, that was.
So talking loud is a no-no, but waving your arms in the air is okay.
Yeah,
your phone.
Yeah. That's Oh, well, I mean, that's written in the ancient,
There's a stone tablet that we found that said,
It says,
"Will you get away from it?"
it says library voices, please.
Yeah.
But leave your hands like Kermit, and you're good. So you're like,
Yeah, you can't stiff arm the way you
have
gotta
to be loosey like
you gotta
this.
be lucid. Yeah, yeah. If you read the ancient tablets of old, then you'll know.
But we got interrupted. Well, I wouldn't say interrupted. We got cut short because that was the start of going to the clearing for the the last part of the night, right? So, and I had a decision to make, and I said that to Trevor too. I said either I go with everybody to do the last part of the last
The CE5,
night, right?
Yeah.
Or I stay here and I keep watching these things and to see if something else will happen, right? Because now I'm actually, for the first time in 4 hours, I'm seeing something. I'd spent all the way up until that moment going, what is everybody looking at? Is it over there? No, it's not. So I felt like I didn't want to break that, right? I was like, I've got something happening. And we had that one to the right that just kept coming closer and then, retreating and closer. And I was like, I don't know. But so that the FOMO part of me, the fear of missing out part of me, went with you guys to do the last part. Cause I was like, oh, what if I stay here and this is all that happens. And then they get something up there and then I miss that, and so,
you could have stayed looking at the woods. I mean, there were aliens in the woods too.
There's a picture. Again, here's Brian not seeing any of this stuff. But other people catch stuff and see stuff and hear stuff. And, is Kayleigh bringing up a picture?
Yes, here it is.
That's crazy, right? That was right behind us, right?
So this was taken maybe 4 or 5 hours before we did the CE5 experience. And I was just snapping photos. I went to take photos for Danny and Sandy. And I mean, this is where I split off from Tanya from walking back from the cemetery. And I walked you got the fort and then on the side there. So I walked along there and went to the woods line in the back. And I'm just snapping photos, and something just told me to snap a photo in this specific area. And I didn't see this until I was walking back.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
So I stopped and looked at this, and I went back to snap more to see if it was still there. It was gone.
Yeah, I didn't see this picture until the next day as we were driving home, and you sent it to us. and I'm driving, and all of a sudden Tanya's like, "Hey, Kayleigh got a picture of an alien." Like, what? Yeah, that's a fantastic picture.
It's insane. One thing I want to do is I came that weekend thinking just one film at Trifecta because I didn't know we were going to Goatman's Bridge. But I came with the idea this.
To be clear, you weren't actually invited to Goatman's Bridge.
To be clear, you can fuck off. To be clear, you almost uninvited yourself because you were walking the wrong way.
He's got you there.
The dumbass made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, so I came that weekend to get one film at Trifecta. Didn't know what it was going to be, but something. But I got Goatman's a Bigfoot hunting-esque analysis video, and now Kayleigh, I want you to send me all of the alien pictures that you got, and even if it's just a couple, and I'm gonna make a what they call an evidence reel. It's not really what it is, and I'll give you credit in the video, like name on screen and everything. Not that you need it or care, but it'd be cool. But because I want to do that. But
do you want some Bigfoot photos too? Because
yeah, whatever you got, yeah. Because not it's kind of like a sidebar, but it's really not. But back in the original days of found footage stuff, all of the photos that were captured on the said film or adventure will always be put at the end because they're still frames and it's hard to edit that in. So I'm just gonna make just that still frame part just the video itself because I think it'd be cool. But yeah.
Yep.
What is it?
Yeah. So yeah, you got
Or-
a
or-
figure
yeah.
back there in the woods.
Oh, okay. See, I see like. Do you see that face in the middle though? That skull face.
That's pareidolia, dude.
Oh,
So, but you can see
okay.
the head and a shoulder here.
Yeah, I
You
saw
can see a
that.
whole body.
Yeah.
Is that Bigfoot or an alien? Like, what do we think? Because I think that's.
Well, I
alien.
think if you look at the top of the crown and then you follow that because it's kind of faces on the left side, it does look like it does have that kind of protruding eye socket that's so
Yeah.
synonymous with Bigfoot.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
why I think it's Bigfoot. And I don't know, maybe that kind of distortion is part of its cloaking. But
that pareidolia it looks oddly weird to a skull, but that's not the point. But yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's leaking out of the tree or whatever.
There was
Yeah.
a path there. I could give you the before picture
Yeah.
before it zoomed in.
Pl-
but-
Plus.
no, it's,
Yeah,
it's
you got
crazy.
a lot
There's
of good pictures.
There's a lot of things going on at Fort Duffield, that's for sure.
Yes.
I got a really sexy picture of
Bill,
me.
do you want to talk
Bill.
about your experience?
Do it,
Oh, Mike?
Brian.
Wait, what'd you say, Brian?
I said I got a really sexy picture of you and me at the fort.
Ooh.
Yeah,
You
you
show
did.
that on air.
Now, was that before or after that Brian hit the car?
We're not talking about that. For legal,
allegedly
for-
hit the car?
seriously, for
Allegedly.
legal reasons, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
No, because so like if you guys for those of you who know the back of These Walls Still Talk, there's full Polaroids of everybody, all the characters of the book, right? So I'm doing it again for this book. So having everybody there at the Ditto House over the weekend was perfect. I went around and made sure I got everybody's photo, right? So me and Bill went up to the cabin at the fort, and we were doing our best, look at us, we're in a cabin photo. So I was happy about that.
Yeah. What you won't see in the photo is I was grabbing his ass during it.
Oh, you'll see it because you'll see the look on my face.
See, he's
Don't worry,
short
Tanya, I
enough.
still love you.
I know. It's okay.
She hasn't said anything for 20 minutes. Are you sure she still loves you?
I hope so.
I still love you.
Also, Kayleigh, what did you send me? I don't know what I'm supposed to look for in this picture.
So that is the before picture before it zoomed in.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now I gotta. It's like finding Waldo in this shit.
Yep.
Find Bigfoot.
Tanya,
Fine.
do you
That's a
want to
different
bring
show.
up what we saw while everyone was looking for Bigfoots?
Oh yeah, we saw the lights in the trees. And there was like the fairy lights, there was fireflies, obviously. But we saw like a bouncing light. It literally bounced onto
it
the
was
ground.
And it wasn't like bright. It was, you can distinctly tell it was a white, like not opaque, translucent ball. And it literally, everyone's looking because, Big Red is tall, so they're looking for eyes at like 7 foot, right? So they're all scanning. And then like this white translucent ball just bounces between like everyone's feet. And then I see it, and I see that Tanya sees it, and we both look at each other like, what?
And I saw like the shifting, like the cloak, the wave, how like that looked. I saw that. I saw flashes of light, but I didn't see no Bigfoot.
But you talked for
Yeah,
Yeah.
you channeled.
talked through, yeah. Or got talking through. I don't
That
know.
was crazy. All right, so yeah, Tanya was under Gainesfield, which for those of you who don't know, you wear headphones that pump out white noise and goggles that shine bright LEDs into your face. You can't see shit. And it's sensory deprivation. Spirits talk through white noise and you hear shit. During that, it's almost like a
Sensory overload.
Yeah, it's
It's a sensory overload.
it's yeah. during that, we
Where
were
can I
asking
get some of those Gadsfield goggles?
Gainesville.
You could get those at emptycasketparanormal.com.
Yeah, I know a guy. This guy builds them.
Yeah.
Yeah, empty cat. Think we saw that banner. MC casket. Empty casket
Empty.
paranormal.com. Yes. But during that, a lot of questions were being answered, a lot of cool responses from Tanya. One that stood out to all of us, not just me, was at one point we saw a couple eyes out in the distance, about face height, and then we were like, "Can you come closer?" And then time went on, and all of a sudden, Tanya was like, "Roots, low, roots, ground," and we were like, "Okay." So we're staring at the ground, 5 feet in front of us, near the roots, basically rolling rolling glowing balls of light near the roots.
Yeah,
And
and they were just kind of like moving around on the ground. Was I wanted to say it was a firefly, but fireflies don't turn on for that long, and they don't produce a blue light.
No. I saw none of that, but I guess I told you.
You told us about it.
That goes back to like, what I was saying about in the trees, right? When I called Trevor and I was like, when you guys were all down with the fire thing, that's how I knew that it wasn't fireflies. They weren't going out, right? And they were green and they were staying and proportionate to what would be eyes. Like, and there was so many of them and they weren't going out.
Like fireflies, though.
What's that?
You could distinguish a firefly.
Right.
yeah,
It's very easy.
Fireflies stay to one color. They glow on almost a timer. It's once every 3 seconds ish. And also, one firefly never stays in one spot.
And they move, right? They move.
Yeah, they move. And
that's what I mean. These stayed. These just stayed. It was the weirdest, except for the 2 that kept coming out of the woods. That was weird. To come out and then go back in, to come out and go back in. And you could follow, like in your head, you could map out their trajectory.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, that's where it would be. Like it was, that to me was the
and the before and after of your reaction of that too, from someone like me, Bill, Tawny, everyone here that does events, right? And like brings in new people, teaches, learns, and guides, right? Seeing your reaction and your growth in the 2 hours that happened was beautiful. Like whenever you were getting frustrated, me trying to like keep your hopes up, like it may not happen tonight, and it may not happen, it'll happen at some point, right? Seeing you questioning every single thing because you were let down at the time. Everything's a firefly. I don't believe this. Like I
never said I didn't believe it. That you're putting words in my mouth.
No.
I just said I'm not seeing. I'm missing. I seem to be standing next to the same people who are seeing stuff, but they're looking this way and I'm looking that way. And I was like, oh, come on. Like, really? Like, why can't I be looking this way? That's what I was getting frustrated with.
And I'm sorry. Yes. But yeah. So then I'm like, just keep pushing on. Because sometimes like after you're putting all your energy out to like see stuff that's hard to see, you get discouraged. I've seen it happen. So,
I know we're probably going to talk about, what it was like, back at the house. I don't know if we are going to talk about that, but, at the Ditto house Friday night, me, Rob, Sarah, Ernie, and Denise were sitting in the parlor, sitting around, and there was something there. They were seeing something and I wasn't. And I forget, it may have been Denise or Sarah. Somebody said, you're not seeing it because you're trying too hard. Like you got to do that magic eye painting thing where I was trying so hard to see, something, physical, like an actual physical thing. And I'm like, why am I the only one who's not seeing the thing standing in the doorway? And they were like, you're trying too hard. You're trying too hard to see, see something physical with, and that's something that I've got to get better at, is knowing when to kind of let that mind, that magic eye painting take over, So
well, one of the interesting things that happened to me that's in that realm is during the CE5, So
Mhm.
the CE5, it was a cloudy night. As soon as the singing bowl started going, the clouds opened up,
Yes, that was wild.
which is easily explained by coincidence. But as soon as we were done, the clouds closed back up. Which
It's like a portal got opened.
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, it was like a
But-
perfect circle too. It was
Yeah.
so weird.
Yeah, it was just above us. But we're looking up, and I know Tanya was seeing things, and Sean was seeing things, and Trevor was seeing things, and
Pointing
Rob
to
and
you.
Sarah was seeing them. Yeah, I look over, like Tanya gets my attention. She's pointing at it, and I'm looking up. I'm like,
don't
what are you
see-
pointing at? There's nothing. She goes, it's right there. It's moving around in the sky. I'm looking up. I'm like, there's literally nothing. I'm literally seeing nothing moving. And she's like, what? How can you not see this? It's moving around. Sean saw it. I know Rob saw it. And it wasn't until we were driving home that I kind of had this realization that not seeing it when everybody else is just as much an experience as seeing it. But it's one that's harder to question because everyone else is seeing it. If you were the only one to see it, then you're going to question whether or not it's, it was your mind playing tricks on you, your eyes are messed up or whatever. But if you're the only one to not see something, then it's like, well, that's kind of cool. And it's hard to argue against that because everyone else saw it but me. It was, I don't know, it was kind of weird. I was disappointed in the moment, but on the ride home, as I kind of thought about it, I'm like, that's still kind of, I'm still counting that as an experience because it's still something really weird that happened, being the only one to not see it.
And
But we were all synced
But
up.
don't forget the sound that we all heard.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh,
all
that
heard the
was
sound.
crazy. That was weird. I mean,
I've
and
never heard anything like that.
not only just
Mhm.
us, but people who stayed at the campfire heard it.
Oh, really?
I mean, everybody heard it. It wasn't just us up there because there was some people who didn't come up to the top with us. They stayed
Mhm.
back at the fire. And when I got back down, I was one of the first people back down, and they were talking about the sound. So that was
Yeah, it
Interesting.
sounded like an explosion, but it lasted for
it was like a
Like-
jet engine turned on, or a big windmill, or a HVAC unit.
but
was,
so much louder. Like
times
you could
1,000.
feel it rumbling and
It sounded
but
like
it
a
lasted-
horn with treble in it. That's what it sounded like.
yeah,
Mhm.
but it lasted way longer than a train or an explosion or
Well, it was
any of that
during
other stuff.
It was during the time when we were supposed to have our eyes closed, right? And we
Yeah.
were doing the meditate part. I
Yes.
opened my eyes because I didn't know. My reaction was open my eyes. What the heck's going on, right? Like
I
what's
think
happening?
that's true for all of us.
Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
I kept them closed. I had full 100% faith in Rob to keep me safe.
No, I was like, if
No, you
shit's
shouldn't have
falling
done that
from the
shit.
sky, I need to know it.
Yeah.
You know? I need to know
Is
it's running.
It sounded like when the aliens were invading in the movie Independence Day.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah.
sounded like that bass drop.
Yeah.
Like because at first I've never heard a train honk a horn from a distance. I live in an industrial town. I see trains 30 feet away all day. So like I don't have to I don't have that reverberation knowledge. But like hearing a train from that far away, I had no knowledge of what that sounded like. So in my head, that's what I pieced together. And then we were talking about it, and I'm like, okay, if it wasn't a train, it was a CE5. My brain immediately went to when the aliens were coming out of the ground in Independence Day, and I'm like, I am feeling a certain type of way. It was really nice.
So Ernie, this mother's hip, that
There's-
all break the hip.
Is it a hip? Was it a hip replacement or like the original hip? Oh, mothership. Oh, all right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. I was like, I don't know whose mother was hovering over me that night, but it certainly was.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Guys,
love
real
little
quick, I have to go to work now, but thank you so much.
Of course.
Well, thanks
Hopefully
for
you'll
being
have
on,
me on
Tanya.
again.
Yeah,
Of
we'll
course.
have you on again in like
You'll
a year.
think about it. Yeah,
Sweet.
another year.
We needed to fill that sixth spot. No one else would show up. So
That's fine. That's fine. All right, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Later.
Good night, Tanya.
Bye.
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 All right.
But you know
Oh,
what?
that's the
That
show.
sound, it didn't get louder and it didn't get further either.
No,
No.
It just
no.
stayed,
It
and it was
just
good.
stayed.
That was
It
what
was
was
like a
weird.
good 5-10 seconds.
It
Too,
wasn't
and it lasted.
approaching. It wasn't receding. It was just.
No.
It was like someone turned on an HVAC unit that was just massive. Like I'm talking like, because it just, when like it kicks on at your house, it makes that like noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, but like times 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
It
worked
was-
with
it
I
was
industrial
believe Ernie even
HVAC,
checked the
and it was-
community page for West Point, and there was nothing reported on there.
Yeah, the community page had nothing.
I'd love to know that just one person outside Fort Duffield heard it, right? I just
All right.
want confirmation that one person heard it outside from us.
Since we have Ernie here and Todd, it's just a general question. I don't know. Do you think it could have been something that was shutting down or closing down at that racetrack? Because that racetrack was loud as fuck too.
Right.
No,
right,
that
right.
was definitely not the racetrack.
I don't
All
know.
right.
That was way louder than the racetrack was.
And the racetrack stopped. They stopped racing at about 11:45. We were at like 2 a.m.
1
or
o'clock.
something, right?
They stopped
It was
racing
like
at 1
1:30.
a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was way after 11. But yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know all the mechanics and what is used on a racetrack, so I don't know. But all right, okay, but never mind. We never heard anything like that in 2 years. Oh, all right. I forget you mentioning that part, niece. But all right, gotcha. Okay, that's weird then. Like, if they live 0.3 miles away from where we heard it at. So if we had heard it there, they would have heard it at their house too.
Mhm.
The fact they haven't, that's just, it's like ironclad
and it-
evidence. That's
And
like
it was
CE.
right in the middle of the meditation for the CE5.
Yes.
Yep.
You know what? I wish
They've done how many events up there prior to this one?
I wish I had
I've-
thought of it after it happened. I actually I called like dispatch or called the police, and asked if they had heard it, or if they had gotten any calls. Had dispatch gotten any calls? Like I could put my cop hat on and start thinking that way, But But that's what I should have done. I should have made a phone call and been like, "Hey, just out of curiosity, did anybody hear that sound? Or is anybody reporting a sound? I just want to know if anybody else other than us heard it, or was it isolated to us because of what we were doing, right?"
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Because
the
if they were like, "Oh
interesting
yeah,
thing.
we've gotten 3 calls on it and we heard it," I'd be like, "Okay, well, it's." But
We're not crazy. Well,
Yeah.
we are, but
No.
different reason.
Yeah.
We were pretty close to Fort Knox.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could have been them getting rid of all the pennies. I don't know.
just a million pennies being dumped into
Yeah.
a crucible at one time.
Right.
Big copper bar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not
it
sure.
ended up being a copper zinc alloy.
No one asked about the technicalities, bitch. Okay.
Sorry for trying to educate you, Trevor.
Pennies are being taken out of circulation. That's the last thing I need to know right now.
So
And,
I think
well-
after the CE5 thing, Brian and Trevor and we walked up to the cemetery. Was it before that?
No, we walked up. Me, and Trevor walked up to the cemetery before Squatchman started doing his
Was it?
fireside storytelling. Because when I went up to the mound and started looking in the woods, we went from there to the CE5, and then we broke for the night.
Okay. And up there, it sounded like some got thrown at us.
Well, remember we had the thing hit the tree?
Yes.
It sounded like either a really large limb broke or something threw a really big rock at a tree. There was a loud crack right next to us. I mean, right in that thing was where you and I were sitting on those benches at the
Mhm.
cemetery. Trevor had already gone back down, so it was just you and me. And there was a sound. It sounded like somebody had taken a really large tree bark and hit the side of another tree with it, like just this loud crack. But it happened once, but we didn't hear anything fall either, right?
No.
There was no falling.
Nothing.
sound.
There was
Tree-
nothing that hit the ground.
There was
So,
no.
so you're
leaves
saying
falling.
it sounded like a wood knock, like Bigfoots are thought to make?
I guess. I would describe it more as like throwing a rock at a tree.
Yeah, but it was like that, right? Right. But we didn't hear anything hit the
But
ground.
nothing hit the ground.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I know
wild.
if you watch a lot of the Bigfoot shows, that they'll the thought is that he'll pick up like big branches or whatever and just kind of like whack it against a tree to make that like knocking noise.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what it sounded like.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
Not in full, but I've seen it.
there was no falling, there was no leaves rustling, nothing fell to the ground. It was just one solid, loud crack, and it happened right like where we were sitting. It was in that next little batch of trees, right? So maybe 25 yards, you'd say, if 25 yards, 30 yards from us,
Oh, there we go.
you know. So
Yeah, so Todd had said earlier in the night that the Bigfoot will usually throw stuff at him, and I'm like, well, I kind of want to experience that. I'm gonna hang out with Todd, and then we ended up wandering off back into around the fort looking for Bigfoot, and I come back to the fire, and Todd's like, dude, you should have hung around. I got like 3 things thrown at me. I'm like, God damn it.
But you had some interesting happen to you when I brought you guys towards the back where I got those photos.
Yeah. So you showed us the photos. I said I wanted to see them. I want to see where you took them. So what, it was you, me, Trevor, and Brian?
Brian,
Where at? Where are
Sean
we
was
going?
nowhere with us.
no,
Yeah.
it was the 4 of us.
Where were we going?
We before it got dark, we went back towards the back of Fort
Because
Duffield.
Kayleigh showed us the photo of where she had gotten that picture. So
Oh,
I got that
yeah.
partial cloak photo with the footprint.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so we were like, let's go back where the photo was and see if they're still milling
Yeah.
around.
So we went to look at the footprint, which we found 2 more while there.
Right. Those I
About
saw.
2 feet apart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We did find the footprints, which was pretty interesting to see.
Yes. And then Kayleigh pointed to like this little corner where there's like the little like 5-6 foot hill to climb up, and she's like, that's where I took the photo. So I start walking back there by myself, and I start climbing up this hill, and I get like 2 steps from the top, and the whole time I'm looking up, like watching where I'm going, and there's nothing in front of me until all of a sudden there was like a very clear outline of a Bigfoot. You could see through it. He was cloaked, but it was a very clear outline of a Bigfoot. My heart stopped for like 2 seconds, and then like it was gone. And I just kind of like jumped backwards off the hill. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to almost walk into you. My apologies. I'll go someplace else now. And then I just kind of like wandered off and like, all right, I'm good. Yeah, that was
And then you got me. Then you hear me in the background going, "Oh, come on!" I was standing right next to Bill a few minutes ago.
We
And
got
that
one more.
was the same spot. I got the partially cloaked, whatever it was, and the alien photo. Same spot.
I'm gonna send. I'm gonna show the picture she just sent me. Just give me 1 second to open it up.
We're at 5 seconds, just FYI.
It'll be at 10 seconds if you don't shut the hell up.
No, we're already at 10.
Present, share screen, window, bam, bada bing, bada boom. Let me zoom in a little bit. That might help.
There he is.
20 fucking tabs open. Okay.
Yeah, you could see the arms, you can see a little bit of the leg, the shoulders.
His face.
Yeah. Like it's a pretty good picture.
Yeah.
Because I had just had my reading with Christopher Lee Jensen, and I had walked, we'd come back out, and then me, Brian, and Tanya took a little walk through the woods. We got back, and then Kayleigh comes running up with that photo, and I'm like, well, shit, show me where you got that.
Yeah, I don't
Yes,
know if the screen share is doing it justice here, because I saw the high quality photo in our group chat, but I don't think the screen share is giving it justice, unfortunately.
If you upload any picture online at all, it compresses the fuck out of it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a wild night. What did you send? Oh yeah. Okay, Brian, you're gonna have to give me a second to airdrop these over.
So while Trevor's doing that, Brian, how was the Ditto House? Because while I got the tour of the Ditto House, I didn't get to investigate it at all.
Well, we did, relaxed investigating, right? Where we hung out in the parlor, that front room. The first night, I got there Thursday morning, and Rob rolled in with little Annabelle Thursday afternoon. And
Speaking of little Annabelle, sorry to interrupt you, but there are 2 more available for sale. If anybody's interested, just go to emptycasketparanormal.com, go to the store. Sorry, I had to plug it.
Hey, anytime you want to plug yourself, man, interrupt me. And so it was just me, Rob, Ernie, and Denise in the house, and we were up until 2:30 the first night, just hanging out in that front room, and we just had stuff set up. We had the bell, the ghost bell, some other stuff, but we weren't investigating. We just had it right while we were talking. We were eating all of Denise's snacks, and then she made us all these like baked goods, and then she just kept feeding us more and more all night, and I remember at one point Rob goes, "Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Oh, look. Oh,
Hey, I know that guy."
Oh, we're so cute together. So happy together.
Well, how can you not be? Look at that cabin. It's awesome.
No, that cabin. Yeah, we were just like shooting the shit and letting the things do the things, and like stuff just kept happening. Right. So we were talking about everything. We were talking about life and so I love this picture. I took this picture of him in the backyard with the Bigfoot cast. I had originally taken a picture of him at the fort to use for the back of the book, but I think I'm going to use this picture instead, just because of him holding the imprint. It's just so awesome. I don't know, maybe he'll be the only person who gets 2 photos. I can't decide between the 2.
This should just be your cover, to be honest.
That's right there. That's it. Done. I'll send it to my graphic designer. I'll be like, here, slap a title on it. It's over. But no, it was just crazy how we were just, talking about normal, everyday life stuff, and things were just popping and going off. And, the bell was ringing like, Rob said, because it was Rob's bell, he said that was the most it's ever gone off. I believe it was one of, or the most it has ever gone off in a specific sitting. And it was just dinging. And, so the Ditto House is weird in a way that you don't ever feel like it's not breathing, like the house itself, right? Like you don't ever feel that it is 100% not active. Now, you might not be seeing something, you might not be hearing something, you might not even be feeling anything, but you just there's this constant feeling that the house itself never sleeps, but not in a scary or like insidious way. It just has this feeling of always ready to do something, right? Like there's a sense of it's always on the edge of anything could happen at any time. And that's how I felt there. And I got more and more comfortable with it. I did spend some time alone in the nursery. I did bring my laptop up to the nursery, and I conquered my fear of the giggling ghost children. And there was a handful of times that I disappeared, and I went up to the nursery, and I worked on the outline. I was taking notes, and I was like, well, the longer I'm in this room, the less afraid I'm going to be of it, right? Because that's the room that scared me the most of that whole house. So I kind of just kept going up by myself. But you just get the sense that at any point in time, you could turn your head and be looking at something. Like that's what the house gives you. It gives you that sense that, hey, we are always here. Like you might not see us or hear us right now, but we are always here. And that gives it a totally different vibe than anything I've ever experienced. Because even MSP, I love MSP. And this is in no way, shape, or form a knock at MSP at all. But there are some nights, there are some times where I was there and it just felt like it was sleeping. You just felt like it's not, the energy isn't ramped up tonight. It's not doing, what we expect it to do, or it's not doing its thing, right? MSP kind of does this a little bit. But but the Ditto House the moment you walk in, it's high vibration all the time. It never stops. But not to say that it's anxious either. Like it's not anxiety driven, I did sleep really well each night, which was good because I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to sleep. So yeah, the EVPs. I forgot about the EVPs, but we did the EVP session with Rob, kind of impromptu. He was just like, Rob was like, it's 11 o'clock, guys. I'm going to bed. 2 a.m. Hey, let's do EVPs, right? Like that's how our nights were going. We got like they were correcting him on the names of the spirits in the house. Like it was there's always something there, right? But never, and nothing maniacal. Like I never felt threatened. Like even when I was at my most scared, I never felt like something was going to harm me. You just feel like it's there. It's just always there, So that's my initial impression of the Ditto House. So, going back for 2 weeks, 15 days or whatever it works out to be, I'm sure I'm going to have, experiences and thoughts and feelings and stuff like that. So
But this time it's going to be you in the house because when Ernie and Denise go to work, you're on your own.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I was never for a moment in that house by myself for those 5 days. And only one of the nights I was sleeping with just, Ernie and Denise in the house as well. So there was always people in and out, right? Because it was the weekend. It was Get Haunted weekend. It was, just people in and out. They had the tour. We had, the sleepover, where people could, they bought the VIP package or whatever, and they slept downstairs in the house. So there was always people, but you're right, Kayleigh. They have to go to work, right? They're still going to work while I'm there. There is going to be a lot of hours where I am alone in that house. And I'm going to tell you something right now. The Ditto House does not care whether it's noon and the sun is shining or it's midnight and the sun is down. It does not play favorites. That stuff will happen at noon as much as it will happen at midnight in that house. You can just feel it. So it's not like, I'm safe because it's 2 and, my favorite soap opera is on. It literally doesn't care. It doesn't care. It's so.
So the big question that's on everybody's mind.
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, that's me. Hi.
What is your favorite soap opera?
General Hospital by far. Yeah.
Okay.
Quartermain's.
Sonic Princess.
Yeah. I had one of the stars, one of the Quartermains from General Hospital sit in my DeLorean. That was kind of a pretty cool moment for me.
Fun fact about General Hospital that is paranormal related.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, there was an overarching story on it about one of them being possessed by the devil.
Yeah. General Hospital is where it's at, man. Luke and Laura's wedding. I mean, that was like the greatest thing that happened at TV at that time.
The only soap opera that I know, because I don't watch them, is Days of Our Lives. What do you think about that one?
No, man, not as good as General Hospital. That's like Star Trek and Star Wars, bro. You just can't. I mean,
yeah, Star Wars is way better.
The only reason I know about Days of Our Lives from my mom, I was forced to watch it for 2 years because I work at a TV station and I was overnight, and it always played at 4 a.m. on Sundays, and I hated myself for it. That's not the point. Anyway.
Yeah.
No.
So the Ditto House will be interesting. Yes, it will be. I'm on an accelerated schedule. I was able to flesh out walls over a course of 8 weeks at MSP. I'm getting 14 days at the Ditto House, but as long as I get that first draft written while I'm there, that's all that matters. I'll be like, I can leave as long as that first draft is done. Then then that's the book, that's the frame, that's the novel. MSP, I had the luxury of writing the second draft there. So I don't know. I don't want to hinder the book or make it. I don't want to make it feel rushed and go, oh my God, I have to get 2 drafts in while I'm here. So I'm really just going to make sure I get the first draft 100% written there. And then I can do the second draft for my house. Because I would rather put out something quality, than have to be like, I got to get both drafts in under, these 14 days.
Brian, I don't know if you've been paying attention to things like Hollywood, but quality is not the thing that sells right now.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
give me book after book, you know.
I'm hoping that tide will turn. I hope that tide will turn. You know, we'll start going back to quality. So, but yeah, I mean, oh, that's so sweet. Do the one of the kids make you say that?
Ernie and Denise have a new roommate.
However, though, I gotta say something. I'm not gonna say what it is yet. But we did, me, Ernie, and Denise, actually, the best. So here's something interesting. I don't know if I'm going to bore people with this, but this is going to be my 13th overall novel. And I've never sat down and at a table and outlined a book before with other people. And me, Ernie, and Denise spent quite amount of hours spread out over the 5 days that I was there last weekend. Like brainstorming, spitballing, bouncing ideas off of each other. So the plot line and the storyline of this is just as much theirs at this point as it is mine, which has been really awesome. It was really cool. We had one moment where we were sitting around the dining room table and we kind of hit on what the book is now going to be. And we all, I think the three of us at the same time realized we had found the plot line for this book. Like we found like the thing, and the three of us got like super excited, and then the ideas started coming out, and Denise is like, oh no, wait, but I can, and then I can do this, and Ernie's like, yeah, and then that, but how do we do this? I know, we'll do, and it was just like creatively, it was amazing. Like I've never done that. 12 novels has been me, right? Me outlining, me doing this, me maybe getting advice from somebody, and then like, I don't know if I want to do that, but it was so much fun to kind of have this round table where it is their house, right? This is their home. You know, this isn't a public place. It's not the penitentiary. They live there. And it was very important that I did right by them as people, and I did right by their property, and I did right by the storyline. So to have them involved, to flesh out this plot, and they came up with plot twists. We all worked on plot twists together. And it was so much fun to have those like creative juices flowing with the packs in their house. And I think the book is going to be 100 times better because of it.
So while you're writing it, if Ernie decides to screw with you, are you going to screw with his character in the book?
Oh yeah, I'll just kill him. I'll be like, so yeah. But we did talk about the front cover. That was part of our little roundtable discussion. And if it gets pulled off correctly, the front cover is a very specific, super, like the front cover of These Walls Still Talk are composite of actual photographs from MSP, right? Which is like really cool because it's actually Housing Unit 1 is the building on the front cover. That's not like a stock photo, right? That's I went out into the street and took a photo. That's the picture. And then the front top of the cover of the book is 3D in Housing Unit 3. So, we use the composite for the front cover. The idea that we've come up with the cover for this book is something that happens very specifically at their house. So it's very much unique to the Ditto house. It's something that they have happen to them frequently. And I'm not going to say it yet, but that was kind of cool to work through. Like, hey, what should the front cover be? Hey, we have this thing that's unique to this house that seems to keep happening. That should be the front cover, right?
Is it Denise correcting Ernie?
Yeah, it's basically Denise making as much pastry and baked goods as she can, and then feeding it to us.
You want to talk about paranormal at the Ditto house? It's how good Denise is at cooking.
Yeah, that's out of this world. You want to talk about C5? That's out of this world.
Speaking of pastries, those cake batter balls, oh my God.
They were called Oreo balls. Get it right.
Oreo balls. Oreo balls, batter balls, Denise's balls, whatever they're called. I will eat them.
Trevor doesn't care as long as he's got balls.
So at one point, Christopher. At one point, Christopher, I looked at him. I was like, hey, you want me to get you an Oreo ball? He's like, dude, I just had like 6 of them. I can't eat another one. Like we were just like popping them like they were popcorn. It was so amazing.
I loved her caramel pie.
Oh God, everything was just so good. Seriously. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the book is going to be very unique. It is not going to be These Walls Still Talk Part 2. It's not going to be a redo. It's not going to be a recycled. It is not a ghost hunt gone wrong. It is a completely new story. It'll be, which is what I didn't want to do, right? I didn't want to just, I didn't want to write the same book again. I didn't want a ghost hunt at the Ditto House to go wrong. Well, then, because who cares? Right? It's just you're regurgitating the same plot line. And I think what we came up with is so unique, and it's so different than These Walls Still Talk, but it's still a Get Haunted tale. And so much of the trifecta is going to bleed into it. It's going to be really cool.
And that lines up with the paranormal. Every investigation is different. Every location is different.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, we came up with a tentative title.
Your balls are amazing. I'm sorry. They just are. Sorry. I had to add that editor's note right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's just gonna be the trifecta. I'm taking a lot of influence from that weekend. What we all experienced and putting it into the storyline. Bill, you're in it. So Trevor, unfortunately. Trevor, you're not in this one.
That's fine.
You can't be in everyone.
Let me say one thing. All right.
Oh my God, Hannah.
Whenever we were talking
Hannah's
about
comment up on the screen, because this is for Ernie and Denise. I got Ernie and Denise to be hankering for stuff over the weekend.
Whenever we were talking about the book release party for MSP, and this was a random conversation phone call between me and you like months ago. Like it had no business talk was in this conversation. I think it was a FaceTime call. And you jokingly said, or maybe like it wasn't a joke. I don't remember, but we talked about These Walls Still Talk, the book. And then you mentioned you're going over to write the book at the Ditto House, and I jokingly said, so what am I going to be doing in this book? Whatever it is, you better include my stutter.
Right.
And you said, oh, I will. And so in my head, I was going to be in it, but if I'm not, I don't care.
No, your stutter is in These Walls Still Talk.
I know.
Yeah,
my brain got mixed up, but no, it's totally fine.
Yeah. So I have Kayleigh and Bill and Squatchman and Christopher the Psychic and Rob and Sarah and Ernie and Denise.
I have a question.
It's a good cast.
And Sarah, Rob and Sarah, yeah.
And you may not know yet, but I have a question. Will any part of the book be written in the POV of Squatchman?
No. So in the book, and I do feel comfortable saying this because I don't think it's going to change. I'm always apprehensive of talking about a book that I haven't yet written or I am writing, because in case something changes, then what I've said now doesn't hold true. Right now, it's
right.
You told us this was going to happen, and it doesn't. Do you remember? So Squatchman in this book. Do you remember Judd from Pet Sematary, the next door neighbor?
Yeah,
that's going to be his character. He's going to be the like mysterious next door neighbor-ish guy who kind of only shows up and has like super good wisdom and then disappears again for a while.
Literally
then comes back into the book with some really profound advice and then disappears again, right?
So he's like a real life Gandalf.
He's like the guy from Home Alone that Kevin runs into at the church. It has some like words of wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like we all remember him, right? We all remember that character, but I think he's got like 3 minutes of screen time. So like Squatchman is going to be a character that everyone's going to remember, but he's not going to be a major player.
You cannot forget Squatchman.
No. I also think I'm going to make him taller in the book than he is in real life.
He's 7'4".
I literally need him to be just like this huge lanking guy, just because I need but his beard's going to be even longer. Like I'm just going to make him even more of a character of himself.
Some old Victorian monster.
Yeah, actually, Trevor, I'm going to send you something really, really quick. I'm going to send you another picture. This was the original picture that I took of Squat when I was going around the fort and actually taking photos for the purpose of the back of the book. This was the photo that I took of him that I wanted to originally include before I did the backyard one. I just sent it to you. Tell me this doesn't embody this man if you've never met this man or talked to this man and you saw this picture, you'd be like, yep, that's him. So I just sent it to you, Trevor. But yeah, so he's going to be that like Pet Cemetery Judd, that type of character. Like he's going to be in like 4 scenes, but you're going to remember those 4 scenes, right? He's going to be, and he's him. Like he's Watchman in the book. Like I'm not changing his character at all. Like I'm not adding or taking away from what he does or who he is as a person. Where I kind of take some liberties with everybody a little bit in the books. I'm going to make my foot taller. Tell me that's not him.
I mean, that's him,
right? If you're like, hey, what does Squatchman like? What's his vibe? I'd be like, this picture. This is his vibe. Like,
yeah, right? That tracks.
Yeah, I love that.
I will say I do have to head out soon. I got an issue that needs to be taken care of. So like here in the next 10 minutes, we'll need to wrap up. Or Bill, are you able to in stream on your end?
Yes.
Okay, cool. If that's the case, I just got a text from someone and it can't wait. So I'm sorry, but it's an emergency. But everyone here, thank you. Love you all. Brian.
All right, Trevor.
Take care,
Trevor.
Trevor.
See you next week.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye. Yes, leave.
So Brian, one thing you have to make sure that you do while you're writing the book, is make sure you schedule some time to go out to Public Trestle Bridge and see if you can find Goatman. Okay. Whether you include it in the book or not, you should go out there because it's a park. There's a trail going right underneath it, so there's plenty of people around. Goatman's not going to steal you. Besides, Kayleigh's more his type than you.
Just don't go up on the trestle.
Yeah, no, don't go up on the
Take
trestle.
Squatchman with you.
Don't go wandering in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So there's no room in the book to bring him into the storyline. I would just be shoehorning stuff. And that's like the one thing I never want to do with any of these books is like shoehorn something just because it was there. Like, oh, we have this experience. How can I fit this in the book? Like it's, like I don't want to be, shoehorning stuff just because we experienced it. Right. So it's got to stay true to like the plot line. It's funny because in These Walls Still Talk, I know there's a handful of people who have like now read it and listened to the audiobook. The dungeon, I talk about the dungeon a lot in a lot of interviews, and I talk about how terrifying it is, and I won't go into there by myself. But the dungeon in the book plays a very tiny role because I had no room for it to, plot wise. So while it is like this iconic place, I had to kind of, as a writer, not really include it too much. So, while stuff at the Ditto House, there's going to be some stuff at the Ditto House that's iconic and amazing and just like, oh my God, I would be shoehorning it in if I made it a big deal, right? So that's the stuff kind of how I weigh.
Yeah. Well, regardless, you should go there just to experience that because it's a cool
place.
I will.
Yeah.
I just whatever way you think Sean went, go the other way.
Okay.
That's fair.
I will tell you though that the giggling ghost children are going to be pretty much front and center, because that is just wild.
Hate it.
That's
Hate it already.
Like, it's crazy in that house. Like they leave them like gifts when they're not home, and they come home and there's stuff sitting on the couch. It's like from outside. How does that happen? It's like this is crazy.
Yeah.
And they write on the chalkboard, like when they're not home. They come home with some. And I saw the chalkboard all weekend. Right? There's nothing written on that chalkboard. It's not like the chalk could fall and roll and make those lines themselves. There's no way that could possibly happen. See, I'm getting myself all worked up again. Going.
Well, it's a good thing you're a very brave paranormal investigator.
I am not.
You've been through the fire. You've been to some pretty,
No, asked Denise. I ran behind a rocking chair in her parlor on Friday night because of something I saw.
Raise your hand if you haven't ran behind somebody.
I'm either running upstairs, running behind chairs, hiding, something going on.
Okay, raise your hand if you got scared and left Tanya in a basement by herself. We've told that story on the show before.
It's one of my shorts on my YouTube doing really well right now.
Yeah, see what Ernie just wrote? Yep. Mm-hmm.
He did.
Yep, I did. I was standing, and I think I screamed, and then hid behind a rocking chair that you can see through. Like, what type of cover is that, right? I did. I got down behind. I was like, oh my god. Yeah.
That's why you keep getting all these experiences, because it's so fun to scare you, right?
I know. I do. I'm like the most scaredy cattest, but I'm like brave but scared at the same time, right? Like, I'll be the first one to volunteer to go do it, but I'm also the most terrified to do it. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is the definition of bravery, is not that you're not scared, but you're willing to put it to the side and go do the thing anyway.
It's probably like being a cop for so many years, running into, firefight, because you're scared you're going to die, but that's what I need to do. Like, I need to be over there.
Yeah, that's how you get your paycheck.
I guess so. Yup.
So Sean,
Yes.
There was only one paranormal nut down in Kentucky. Where was the other nut?
So
did it not drop yet?
Unfortunately, well, something dropped. Jim had a baby over the week. Well, he had a baby that Monday.
By little Annabelle.
I said he could have made it back in time.
He definitely could have.
His girlfriend was like, "No, he can't. He has to be here." So I lost that argument, but I think I won on moral principles. So Jim's kind of MIA for a little bit, raising the next generation of paranormal investigators.
Raising the next nut.
Yeah, it's just a little nut. It's a little peanut.
Little nut.
Little peanut. Oh, we're stealing that. Write that down. But yeah, no, Jim. Jim will get around here and there when he can, but you're not going to see him in any investigation videos for a little bit. Maybe one that we have archived. I think we got 2 archived right now that aren't out that he's in. But after that,
well, you still got some the mid-orange stuff you got to get out, right?
Yeah. So hour 5 was last week. Hour 6 is the final hour. Is next Tuesday. Big announcement. I release my videos on Tuesday, 7 p.m. EST, YouTube. Paranormal Nut podcast. Paranormal Nut podcast for YouTube. Paranormal Nut for Facebook and everything else. And then we got some other things that we've done. We've been to the Erie Mansion in Clyde, New York. And we have a My Haunted Project video we still haven't released. So when those come out, you'll see Jim again. Sure, he'll be on podcasts, though, after a month or 2 of being, newborn watcher.
Well, since you just kind of told what you have coming up and where people can find you, Kayleigh, how about you? What do you got coming up? Where can people find you?
Well, I'll be at MSP next weekend. So anybody on the side, there are some tickets still left. If you guys have nothing to do, come on out, see some of the Get Haunted crew, see Brian Paoni. Let us kick this book party off. I have just recently teamed up with Sarah and Candy, so now I am on the Rock Island Roadhouse Esoteric Expo. So if anybody has any questions about that, you guys can reach out. I'm on Facebook, so just find me on the network page.
Yeah, I will also be at MSP. Well, I should say I'm planning to be at MSP. I'm listening to the audiobook of Brian's book on the way there. If it sucks, I'm turning around and going home.
All right. Well, I guess I'll catch you at the next hunt then. So thanks.
So Brian, how about you? What do you got going on? Where can people find you?
Yeah, of course, MSP, the big book release party. As you know, Bill, you took advantage of this. Amazon, Audible, iTunes, the whole conglomerate was like, yeah, we're not going to listen to your street date. The audiobook was not supposed to come out until midnight of June 21st. And they just literally were like, no, today's a good day. Click, send. I got an email. They're like, your audiobook is live. I was like, oh, it's what? And sure as shit, I checked all the stores. I'm like, and you can't retake it back, right? So I'm like, fuck, I may as well advertise it, right? So now people are going to be able to, read it or hear it, listen to it now before the book release party, which I think is cool because it might give you a different perspective of the buildings.
I'm kind of excited to listen to it before the book release parties because I've never been to MSP, so it's going to be I'll know the book and then I'll be able to go see it all in person.
Yeah, and the cool thing about
Brian, I don't mean to cut you off, Bill. I do have to jump off. 5 o'clock does come early.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. Thank you for being on, Kayleigh. We'll talk to
you guys
next week.
There we go.
Bye.
Bye.
What I did with the book, the descriptions, is I did not change the way MSP looks in the book. Right? I didn't add a building. I didn't make a building square that's rectangle. I didn't make cells where they shouldn't be. I didn't move the dungeon to another location. I didn't make 3D. I described it exactly as is. So when people read the book, one of my goals is that forget the book release party, right? MSP is gonna be there for hopefully a really long time, giving ghost tours and ghost hunts. I'm hoping that this book sells for a really long time. I want people who have read my book to go to MSP for the first time because maybe they're on vacation. Maybe they want to go because they read my book. I don't know, 2-3 years from now, right? And they can walk around and they can see where scenes happened because the description of where they happened match exactly what they're looking at.
What we should do.
What's that?
What we should do
Yeah.
is obviously you have your book launch and everything, but after that, take a group of people and play the audiobook and literally listen
Walk
to it.
around.
It'd be like 7 hours.
Right.
And like go to every single spot that everyone's going to and like live out the actual story. That would be
Right.
so cool.
Right. Yeah, I mean, one of the things, the climax takes place in the women's unit. And one of the reasons I did that
Does.
is because, see, well played. Because Housing Unit 4, which is A Hall, and Housing Unit 3, which has Death Row and 3D in it, always seem to get all the love. Like it gets all the love. That's what everybody wants to go and investigate. Like the women's unit gets neglected a lot when it comes to people investigating, tours wanting to go there. People want to try to get through it so they can go see the 2 cool buildings, right? It's 4 buildings total. The gas chamber is the gas chamber. It's always its thing. But I purposefully made the women's unit where the huge ending takes place because I was trying to throw it a bone, right? Give it some love. And when I was writing it, I
keep my mouth shut.
I was like, is something going to be said here?
I'm trying.
I wrote the whole ending in the women's unit, in the cells and on the levels that the action's actually taking place. Like I moved around. There's a scene where the main character is hiding in a very specific cell because I describe it. I went and sat in that cell to write that scene. So I would take a break and I'd look around, and I knew the distance between, from the cell to the hallway and to the back wall. Like it's all real. Like you can take a measure tape and take the descriptions of my book and it's going to be correct in MSP. And I did that through the whole novel. And I just felt that was important because MSP, like Squatchman, has written itself. There's no reason to change it. Like it is a character already. It is perfect as it is. And that's why using actual pictures from MSP on the front cover, we could have used stock photos of a creepy looking penitentiary, right? Like something CGI-ish with things coming out. I was like, no, I got into the middle of the street. I sat down, looked up at Housing Unit 1, women's unit. That's the women's unit on the front cover, by the way. And I took a picture of it. And that's what we used for the front cover. I just was very much wanted that when people read the book and they visit MSP, after they read the book, they can, in their brain, in their mind's eye, see where that scene happened. Oh, I see exactly what happened on, this level or in this cell or in chapter 3. Oh my God, I can see it. Or the flip way, people who have never read the book, who go to MSP for a ghost tour, a ghost hunt, pick up the book and then be like, I remember that cell. I remember that hallway. I remember that corner. I was there, when this, so that was very important. And I'm going to do the same thing with the Ditto House. I'm not changing the Ditto House, right? So if people come and do a tour of the Ditto House and who have read that book, they're going to know where the nursery is, where the murder room is. I'm not putting an extra staircase because it's going to help the plot. I'm not moving the kitchen to another part of the house because it doesn't work where it is, so that's something I'm going to stay true to with all these books. But it'll be cool for you, Bill, if you're going to listen to it on the ride out, because it'll be fresh in your mind and you'll be like, oh, fuck.
Well,
fuck. I know that. I know that corner. I know that corner,
I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to listen to on my 14-hour drive to Missouri. And then I saw you post that. I'm like, now I know what I'm listening to twice.
Cool. Yeah. It'll be fun. And so the other thing I have going on, for people who are still like logged in and watching, so These Walls Still Talk. Remember, I finished it at MSP last September. This book in my world is already 10 months old, right? I mean, it's still new to everybody because it hasn't actually come out yet, but it's almost a year old to me. While we've been waiting for the book release party through this length of time, I've written another book, which comes out September 13th, which is hasn't really been talked about a lot because we've been pumping. Once the MSP weekend is over, you're going to hear me talk, completely like the next book is going to be the where all of my attention is going to be advertising, marketing. But I wrote do you remember This Is Spinal Tap?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. So I wrote a mockumentary novel about the making of a 1986 werewolf movie that doesn't actually exist.
That sounds awesome.
You told me about this at Trifecta, and I am so pumped. So, get this stuff done. No offense.
So it's with my editor right now. September 13th is its release date. And the book release party for this book, it's called Howlers. The book release party for this is Fright Reads, which Get Haunted's going to be at, Little Annabelle's going to be at. So we're using
Little Annabelle's going to be a speaker at?
Well, she's going to have her booth. She's going to have her own little booth.
Okay.
Yeah, at the convention. So, so that's book release party for Howlers, right? So I have the book release for this next weekend, and then come September, I have another book coming out. But These Walls Still Talk is almost a year old already, right? So it's going to look like I released 2 books really back to back, but I didn't really. I didn't write them back to back. But yeah, so it's a mockumentary where it's interviews with all the cast. So it's done in an interview format, and it goes back and forth from interview with fake cast members to this, the script, the scenes, and then the cast members talk about it, and then back to the script of the werewolf film. And then, I have an introduction. Another author, a friend of mine, Harry Carpenter, wrote an introduction as if Howlers is his favorite movie of all time. And he writes a foreword to the book. And the book is its 39th anniversary of the movie being released. Because 39, who?
Do you have an idea how many people are going to be looking for this movie?
That's what we're hoping, right? So the goal is that they're going to try to rabbit hole, deep dive Howlers, the movie, the 1986 cult classic. We talk about they have midnight screenings like Rocky Horror Picture Show, or people throw silverware at the screen.
You're gonna get a lot of the Mandela effect people on it,
right? They go, I remember Howlers. I saw it.
So there is a movie called Howlers, but it was from 2019, and it looks like it's about a gunslinger.
Right. I found out about that after someone actually sent me that. Actually, I think it was Harry that found that and sent that to me. But anyway, so that's my September 13th going to be that big release. But I've never written. It's the book is comedic, right? It's a This Is Spinal Tap style mockumentary. Everything that could have gone wrong in the set went wrong, and so it's 50% interviews and 50% the script. But the movie doesn't, but it doesn't actually exist, and it's the most stupidest. And I never get in touch with the director. I only interview the most random 3rd-tier crew members you can find. And because it's 39 years later, some of them are down out on their luck. Some of them are, they're just bottom of the
backup PA,
yeah, right. And they all have something really crappy to say about the director. So I actually was able to build character development for a director without actually ever interviewing the director, because you hear about him from all the other crew members. So you get a picture in your head of who he was based on things they say about him. That's right. Awesome. So that's Howlers. So that's going to be in September.
Oh, that's
and then after Howlers is the Ditto House. That will be 2026. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm super excited about Howlers. I think it's going to be funny. I think if people read it understanding it's tongue in cheek and that it's like this is Spinal Tap, they'll like it. If they try to read it like it's a serious werewolf story, they can be like, "What the fuck's this garbage?" You know, like.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. That one sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I showed you the front cover too, didn't I, Sean? At the Ditto House, did I show you the
You
front
did
cover?
not show me the front cover,
Okay.
but you
Front
definitely
cover
told me about it.
Front cover is just. I'm so excited about the front cover. It looks so good. It's like because it's your typical '80s movie poster, not a book cover. It looks like an '80s, like a Monster Squad type movie cover.
Nice.
And we did it, and my graphic designer made it all like a VHS cover, so it's all crinkled like you found in the bottom of a box, like at a garage sale or something.
Yeah, you definitely need to put the book in a VHS cover.
Right? We were talking
cool.
about all these different marketing things that we can do for it, like put it in a VHS like slip sleeve or something like that. So
Well, speaking of your books, there are tickets left for MSP. If anybody's interested, you can go to extremeticketing.com, get your tickets. It is next weekend. So we're all looking forward to that. Be sure to, we have Greg Balkin coming up with Ghost Box Radio in about 15 minutes. So we got to kind of end our show.
Surrender the link.
Yeah. So thank you both for being on.
yeah, thanks for
Very
having
much
me.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me. Yeah.
Thank you to Kayleigh and Tanya as well.
Yeah.
Even though they've had to leave early. Everybody,
No
be
thanks to
sure you.
Trevor.
Oh yeah, Trevor. Then there's that guy.
Yeah, there's Trevor too. Hope everything's okay. You know, I know he had to leave with emergency. Hope everything's okay with him.
Right.
But yeah, everybody, make sure you go out to gethaunted.com and follow them on Facebook and all that. Make sure you're up to date on all your Get Haunted news and all the merch and events and all that we have coming up. There is at the end of the month, New Egypt is that's a fantastic little location in New Egypt, New Jersey. It's the New Egypt Historic Society. Really cool place. Get your tickets to go out there. And
the craziest EVP that I still have ever heard was from there.
Was it?
In the doll room, when we asked like how many in here were listening or talking, and they said like all of us or many of us, or I forget what it was, but the EVP was so wildly clear. I just remember being like, oh my God, like just like the fuck, But.
Nice. Yeah, it's a cool place. It's been a while since I've been there. I don't think I'm going to make it out to this one this month. Got a little bit too much traveling going on this month, but anybody else in the area, definitely go check it out. And be sure to check out emptycasketparanormal.com. I make creepy things with wires, as Trevor says. And ectalkingboardmuseum.com. I teach people not to be afraid of cardboard.
That's your role in the next book, by the way. You're like this just like technological guru who just like
nice.
You just keep fixing all the broken, like all the gears going to keep breaking, and you're kind of like the mad scientist who just knows how to fix all the apparatuses. Like that's exactly your role in the book.
So you're not changing my character at all.
No, it's easy. You guys just write yourselves. I love you guys. You're like an author's dream.
I can't tell you how many pieces of equipment I have fixed during an investigation for people.
Yeah, well, that's what you're going to be doing in the book. So
I'll tell you, I'll just be watching a random YouTube paranormal team I've never heard of, and I'll just see like the Rip Pod, and I'm like, I know that one.
And of course, for Trevor, go check out Haunted Faith. He's not here to plug himself, so I'll plug him. That came out weird.
Yeah.
We need to kill this.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening. Thank you guys for being on again. Thank you to Kayleigh and Tanya. And on behalf of Trevor, everybody have a good night and sleep safe.
Yay.